Welcome back to the channel, guys. Today we are driving this wonderful Ford Bronco Raptor. Here's our key. We're going to pull this out of the hangar and go for a little test drive, but first let's do a little walk around. Couple things I want to point out. These massive 37-inch tires, these enormous fender flares, they look a little bit goofy, but this is a very serious car. Right here on the side, you can see that it has rock sliders and it has this removable step. So if you're going to go out on the rocks, you would unbolt this and take this off, and this will protect the side of the car from the rocks. We have a massive Fox damper in the back end, 14 inches of travel in the back, 13 in the front. We have a 418 horsepower 3-liter turbo engine up front, and even though this car is absolutely wild, it's very mild-mannered on the road. Just with a few clicks and buttons, you can switch from a luxury SUV to a incredible adventure vehicle. This is one of the best adventure vehicles that you can get, even though we are independent suspension up front. This thing is extremely capable. I mean, it's just unbelievable. So let's go out and drive it. I'm going to pull it out, put the plane back, and we will go out to those hills over there. You notice that the roof is removable, so this is giving me Jeep vibes, but this has a long travel suspension setup. On these roads with all these bumps, it's one of the smoothest vehicles I've ever driven, even compared to my older Ford Raptor. I used to have a 6.2 Ford Raptor I would take out here, and I had King shocks on it, and it handled very well, but it wasn't as good as this. This is from the factory, an amazing vehicle. Coming around back, we do have a tow package, but we are limited to 4,500 pounds. In the back, we have a Dana 50 axle, and then up front, we have a Dana 44 axle, but with independent front suspension. So the big difference between this and a Jeep, for example, is that front independent suspension. So before we drive this, let's take a look in the interior. Now, Ford provided a sticker of the options and the cost. Exterior, Velocity Blue, 3-liter EcoBoost V6 engine, Raptor graphics, keyless entry keypad, that was on the driver door. Beadlock capable wheels, those are $2,000. Interior carbon fiber pack, that is $1,725. And what that refers to is this carbon fiber here on the shift knob, on the steering wheel, and on the grab handle here. And all the interior components feel really nice. There's a rubberized grip right here. There's even rubber on the AC vent here. Overall, very solid build quality. Ford has really stepped up the build quality in recent years. And we have the leather trim and suede seat option. So you can see that here. That is the $3,000 option. We're out here and it's over 100 degrees right now, and there are no cooled seats on this car. There's only heated seats. And that drives me a little bit insane because I am sweating. It is so hot. Wow. So you're spending 80 grand on this car. You don't get cooled seats. You do get this really cool looking interior. Let's take a look at the back here. Again, you can see we have the suede insert seats. This is what the back looks like. Lots of space for your dog. And you notice that it has speakers up in the roll bar. This is very similar to the Jeep Wrangler, but this actually looks very nicely done. Right here we have a frameless window. So watch when we close it. It's a little bit flimsy, but then it tucks itself in there. I also want to point out under the hood, we don't have a V8. We have a 3-liter turbo, 418 horsepower engine. So not super exciting. The exhaust isn't super exciting sounding, but it's plenty fast, plenty of power. I guess that'd be one gripe I have, is that engine note. The engine doesn't sound as cool as the older V8 Raptor. Keyless start here. Starts right up. You see we have Raptor, Ford Performance right there. And Sirius XM. It hooks up to my iPhone actually. AC is on. It's very hot. Now, one thing with these AC vents, if you guys can see this, steering wheel's right here. When my hands are here, they block the air conditioning. And I only noticed it on very hot days like today. On a normal day, enough air gets past, but right now it's a little bit awkward having the vents right behind the steering wheel. Taking a look at these paddles, they're a little bit wiggly, and you can feel that when you use them. Just some things that drive me a little crazy. Up here, the fit and finish looks really good, but when I plug something into this device, this port, this whole panel kind of lifts up. And so that drives me a little crazy. Other than that, these switches are all rubberized. They feel very solid. These switches, the auxiliary, very solid. Everything generally feels pretty good. Those were just a couple of my gripes that I wanted to point out. All right, so we are in 2 high right now. And if I turn this goat modes thing here, it changes the driving mode. So I'm gonna go into Baja, and when I go into Baja, it automatically goes into 4-wheel drive. So we're in 4 high, and then rock crawl. What does rock crawl do? For 4 low, shift to neutral. So we'll go to neutral, and we're going into 4 low now. Now what's great about this is I have a camera, so I can see right in front of the vehicle. Because if you look over here, I can't see anything. When I'm coming over these hills, this vehicle does not have the best downward visibility. There's a big hood in the way. I can also do a 360 one, so I can see what's around the vehicle. Very neat. So let's go down the trail with our camera. I have my foot off the brake. It is keeping me crawling down this hill. It's literally foolproof. It's unbelievable how easy it is to drive this off-road. It makes you look like a total pro. Alright, so a little bit aggressive on that shift there. This is actually not one of my favorite modes. I just turned it to this mode just to show you. We're on a tight trail, so it's worth showing. But look, I can plant my tires right to the right of that obstacle with these cameras. Very handy. I mean, this means you can go probably up some black diamond trails without even having a spot, because I can see all around the vehicle. Now this crawl mode, again, is very confidence inspiring. I don't have my foot on the brake or anything. It's almost automatic going down this super steep hill. And the reason I'm showing you this is because some people are cross-shopping vehicles like this with the Jeep, and I think that for a lot of people, this would be a better choice than the Jeep because of the on-road comfort. If I'm going to take an overland trip, the Bronco Raptor might be a really good choice. And my favorite thing isn't crawling through the trails. Oh, I'm going off here. My favorite thing with this truck is not crawling through the trails like this. I like the high-speed stuff. It seems like if I'm blasting along a trail and I hit a bump and catch some air, the truck just absorbs it. It's unbelievable. Oh man, lots of power. You see that? We're sliding around. Wee-hee! 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 Yeah, so the best driving mode is 2-wheel drive, sport, with the rear differential locked, and then you hold down the traction control to get the advanced track off, and then you can really slide around. That will do it. We're going to do a street drive with the Bronco Raptor right now, and one thing I want to point out that a lot of people complain about is the gas mileage. So when I've been driving this thing around today, I did fill it up once, and it did get around 15 miles to the gallon. With that said, how does it drive on the road? Is it loud? Let's get in and find out. So once we get out on this road, it's a 50 mile per hour road. You'll be able to see how quiet this truck is, even with this upright windscreen. We have a green light, so I'll give it a little gas. Now you notice when I lifted off the gas pedal there, the RPMs kind of tend to hang. So let's switch out of sport mode and see if it still does that. We're in normal mode now. And the RPMs still seem to hang a little bit, and that's one characteristic that I notice with this truck that I'm not a huge fan of. Now I do have lane assist on right now, and I have it on the most aggressive setting. There we go, now it's working. You see that? It bumped me back in the lane. So if I go over across this lane, oh, it turns me right back. Oh, a little bit too far. So I would have crashed into the center divider there. So I have the most aggressive lane assist on right now. It's a little bit better on the freeway, but I'm going to turn that off, because it could also be dangerous, like in that instance. What I want to show you here with the on-road test is just how composed the car is. So I'm going to wait for that. Are they going to do a U-turn? No. So if I rip it around this corner, the truck stays relatively flat. You can see there is some body oscillations when I'm going back and forth. I'm going to go right here to show you again, but for a enormously lifted truck like this with 37-inch tires that performs this way off-road, the on-road handling is simply fantastic. It's just spectacular, and at speed, it's relatively quiet in the cabin. Really, the only comfort feature that I feel is missing from here is having cooled seats. I really would like to have cooled seats, especially on a day like this. When I was out off-roading it was over 100 degrees, and it would have been really nice to have those cooled seats. Now, right here we can change the suspension setting from normal to sport, and you can actually feel the dampers stiffen up a bit. And then if I go to off-road, or on off-road, now it's extremely soft. I'm just waiting for a open spot, so there's nobody around me, but here we go. Look at how much body roll there is. Now if I go back to the sport setting, it's actually quite a bit different the way the car responds. So it does change the behavior of the car. That's pretty neat to have adjustable dampers on an off-road vehicle like this. I'll do one more acceleration test here just to show you how great this vehicle is. Again, we're on road right now in a very hardcore off-road vehicle. Great acceleration, decent fuel economy, absolutely amazing off-road. It's really a great adventure vehicle. The on-road mannerisms are spectacular for how capable this is off-road, and that is the main takeaway with the Bronco Raptor. This 3-liter turbo is plenty powerful enough. The one disappointing thing from the spec sheet was the tow rating. It seems like if I just had a little bit more tow, this would be the perfect vehicle for me. And so I'm interested to see if they bring out other versions of this, if it will have an increased tow capacity, because that would really push me over the edge with this truck. It's just a fantastic truck. I've never driven anything like this. It's a crossover between my Ford Raptor truck and my my Jeeps. It seems just as capable as the Jeeps on the trails, but way more comfortable. For some reason, I'm much more comfortable in this Bronco Raptor than I am in the Jeeps. And the on-road mannerisms are spectacular. To have a truck that is lifted this high with 37-inch tires, that can accelerate this fast, that can drive this well on the road, and then head straight to the trails and perform that well on the trails, I am very impressed. That is all I have for you on the Ford Bronco Raptor. Thank you guys for watching, and make sure that you enjoy your car.